Yo, what is up? So in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and work on a key door. So you'll need a key to open the door. Right now I'm interacting with it. It doesn't open. And if I pick up the key, it'll open. And yeah, we're going to add a few things to this. So we're going to have a thing that says, does the door require a specific key? And if it does, you can name the key that it requires, and also on your key, you can name that key so that they match. So, yeah. So if it doesn't require an ID, I can pick up any key and it'll open. And if it does require a key, and right now this ID required is no, and this one is no. If I name this one, say yes, and I try to use this key, it won't open. So we could do that. Also, we're going to be adding a HUD. So we have a little crosshair, and whenever we interact or we hover over something that is interactable, we'll be updating that. And yeah, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we need to bring in our key model. So let's go into our models folder. We're going to make a new folder in here called key. And I'm going to go find my key model. I'll be sharing this key in the description if you want the key. This is a key I made a while ago. So yeah, just go in the description and there'll be a link for it. Key right here. We're just gonna import this guy, and we have the key. Now I'm gonna bring in the textures for this right here, and we need to edit these textures real quick, optimize them and change their compression settings. So let's go into the ARH here. I'm going to make this 1024. Compression setting needs to be masked. Save that. Close it. Go to the base color. I'm going to drop this guy down to 2048. Save that. Close it. Then I'm going to go into the MSE. Drop this guy down to 1024. Compression setting is going to be masked. Close that guy. Go into the normal. There's not a lot going on the normal, so I'm just going to drop this down to 1024. Save that guy. Close it. And now we need to make our material. So let's go up to our first person folder. Materials. Master right here. Right click. Create material instance. This is going to be mi_key. And we will just pull this guy into our key folder right here. Move that guy there. And we're going to open this. And we will just change our maps out. So just check all of these. Oh, actually, we need to tick use ARH, and we're going to use MSE. And we're going to tick these guys right here. And I'm going to bring the base color in, the normal in, the ARH, and the MSE right here. And this is a metallic, so I'm gonna also go to metallic intensity right here. Set this to 1. Save that guy. Close it. Open up our key right here. I'm gonna enable nanite and just bring in my material. And there we go. Now we have a key. So cool. And I'm just gonna delete this material here. We don't need that. The one that came in with it. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do, let me just pull up my references. Took some screenshots. Don't know what we need to do. This guy is gonna be later on. Yeah, we can go ahead and make our HUD. So let's go ahead and make our HUD class. So go to your first person folder, blueprints. We're going to right click and we're going to make a blueprint class. We're going to drop all classes and we're going to look for HUD. And we're going to make a HUD. So select that guy. And we're going to call this BP_player HUD. And then we're going to open this guy. We'll need a widget, but for now, let's go into our project settings. And let's go to maps and modes right here. And drop down the selected game mode, and on the HUD class, we're going to choose our BP player HUD. Then close that guy. Now we're going to go in our blueprints folder here. We're going to make a new folder called Widgets. And we will open this guy. And we're going to right click, go to blueprint, or actually user interface right here, widget blueprint, user widget. We're going to call this WBP_HUD, widget blueprint HUD. We're going to open this guy. And we're going to go up here to the search, and we're going to add a canvas panel. Bring this guy down. And did I take a screenshot of this one? I may not have. This may have been... No, I did. Cool. Okay, so everything we need in here is... First thing is going to be a horizontal box. Let's find a horizontal box. Bring this guy down on the canvas panel. We're going to leave it up here in the top left. Don't remember the size I did on it, but next is going to be a size box. So do that. We're going to bring that onto the horizontal box. Also, let's rename this horizontal box to be key horizontal box. We're also going to make this a variable, so tick is variable. And the next thing we're going to need is a border. And we're going to bring that on to our size box. So bring this onto the size box here. This is going to be a key icon border. So I have an icon that I'll share in the description if you want it. Key icon border for the key. And I'm just going to go to the size box here and do a width override of, say, 100. It's also kind of position our horizontal box here. I'm gonna scale this guy up a bit as well. I'm gonna fill the size box here. And actually, let's not fill that. Not yet. We'll give this a padding of 5. Go to the horizontal box. I'm going to size the Y up a bit. Let's say 50. And that should be good for now. Alright, so on the border, we need an icon. So I'm going to bring that in. So go to your first person folder. I'm going to make a new folder called Textures. Open this guy up. I'm going to make a new folder called Icons. Bring this guy up. And I'm going to bring in the key icon that I got. So this guy to represent keys. And I'm going to just set this guy. If you come down here to brush, I'm just going to hit the back arrow. And now we have that key right there. And now what we need is a text. So let's grab a text. Text. And this is going to come to our horizontal box right here. And I'm going to actually change the font of this. So I'm going to go into the first person folder and I'm going to bring in a font. So I'm going to make a new folder called fonts. Go into here and I'm just going to find a font that I have. Where is it? Trajan Pro. This is a pretty cool one. I like this one a lot. So Trajan Pro, bold. I'm going to bring this guy in. You can find that one on Google Fonts, I believe. if you want the same one. I'll show you what it looks like. Right. Well, I guess it won't show me here. I'll show you right here. This is the font. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, we'll just save that, close it. And if we come down here to font, I'm going to change it to Trajan Pro. And I'm going to go to outline settings, give it an outline size of 1. I'm going to make the text say 0 for now. And we're going to vertical align that center. And we can see we don't really need all this extra space on our horizontal box, so I'm just going to size the X down a little bit. Say 110, something like that. So compile and save that. Text name is going to be keys held number text. So let's name that to keys held number text. And we're going to check is variable. So compile and save that. And next, we're going to make a little crosshair. So we're going to find a border. And I'm just going to bring this guy down on the canvas panel. Click on this. And we're going to anchor this to the center. Just hit the back arrow on both of these. And alignment will be 0.5 and 0.5. And the size of this, let's try 10 by 10. So we'll do that there. And I'm just going to name this Crosshair border. I'm also going to take this to be a variable, so check that. And I'm just going to bring in a pack that I have that has a crosshair in it. So I'm going to right click, go to Fab. You can use whatever crosshair you have or anything you want, but I'm going to use one from a pack that I have. So let me find that. I'm just going to look for icon. Zombie game UI icons right here is a pack that I have. I don't think it's that expensive. Forget the price of it, but it wasn't too bad. I'm just going to add this to the project. And Fab is broken again. I don't know why it always does that, dude. It never adds the first time. Let me search for that again. I find if I reclose it and open it a few times, it'll finally add. Eventually it works. Add a project. Yeah, it looks like it's working this time. There we go. So, now that's added, I'm going to pull my widget back up here. And I'm just going to change the... Where is it? Brush right here. I'm going to find the crosshair. I'm going to bring this guy in. And you see we have a little crosshair there. It's a little small, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to size this to 20 by 20. Let's make it a little bigger. I'll make it 30 by 30. 30 by 30. And there we go. That's all we need to do in here for the time being. So we can close all of this. I'm going to go up to the first person folder and let me pull up my references again here. And let me just see. First person character. Okay, so yeah. We need to add some variables in our first person character. So go to your first person character. And we're going to go to variables here. We're going to add a variable called keys held. And we're going to make this an integer. So compile and save that. We're going to also add a variable called key IDs held. And this is going to be a name array. So we're We're gonna name this key IDs held. We're gonna make this a name, and we're gonna make this an array. So this will store all of the like whenever we pick up a key and it's like a specified key for a specific door, this will hold all of that info, and we'll be adding to this list whenever we pick up those types of keys. So that's what that's for. And we're also going to add an event dispatcher called Crosshair Interact and Crosshair Clear. So 2 event dispatchers. Oh, actually 3. We need update keys held, Crosshair Interact, and Crosshair Clear. So we're going to add 1 here. We're going to update keys held. And we're going to add another one called Crosshair Interact. And we're going to add another one called Crosshair Clear. And the first one we need to do, since we're already in here, we're going to add our Crosshair Interact and Crosshair Clear right here. So that's going to be in our interactable check function that we made a few episodes ago. So right at the end of our true, we're going to call Crosshair Interact. So we're just going to call this guy here. And then right before the is valid here, we're going to call the Crosshair Clear. We'll just plug this guy in. Yeah. Then we'll compile and save, and we can go ahead and update that in the widget. So let's go to the first person, blueprints, widgets. Let's go into our HUD. Go into the graph. Let's delete the event tick and the pre-construct, and on event construct, let me pull up my reference, double check everything I did here. Which is gonna be, we're just gonna cast to first person, cast a BP first person character. We're gonna get player character, and we're gonna promote this to a variable called player ref. Oops, not player red, player ref. And then what we need to do is I'm gonna grab this reference. This is what we're gonna be doing to update our crosshair. We're gonna be using those event dispatchers to update the info here rather than doing a bind. A lot of people would likely just do this on a bind with a variable, but an event dispatcher is gonna be more performant, less calculations going on. So we're gonna make a custom event. And what did I name it here? Crosshair Interact. Okay, cool. So let's call this Crosshair Interact. And we're going to pull in our player ref. And we're going to look for our Crosshair bind event to Crosshair Interact. We're just going to plug this guy in here. And I'm going to duplicate this custom event, and I'm going to copy the name of this and paste it into here, and just add the word bind. And I'm going to plug this in right here. And all we want to do here is we just want to update the color of our crosshair. So our crosshair border right here, we're going to set color, set brush color right here. And you can make this whatever color you want. I'm going to go for like an orangish color. So I'm going to go for something right around there, like that. And then we want to call this custom event on begin play. So Crosshair Interact. We'll just plug that guy in. And that should be working now. Let's test that. Oh, we need to add our widget. So let's do that real quick. Let's go to a blueprint. Let's go into our player HUD right here. Open this guy. And we're going to delete the tick and the overlap. And we're going to, on begin play, create widgets. And the widget we're going to create is our widget blueprint HUD. We're going to promote this to a variable called HUD ref. And we're just going to pull off this guy and we're going to add to a viewport. Like that. And now we should have our HUD. So let's check that. We have our HUD. And you can see in the top left we have our key and our number. Probably going to actually make that a little bit bigger. It's a little small. Now if I go over this, you can see it goes yellow, but it won't ever go back because we haven't cleared it. So we need to update that. Let's do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and size this guy up a bit up here. It's a little small. Let's size this guy up a good bit. And the size box here, I'm gonna scale this guy up to 100. Height 100. Make the horizontal box Y 100. And the keys held number text, let's make the font 36. And let's see if we like that size. Yeah, that's a lot better. That looks a lot better. Okay, so let's update clearing our crosshair. I'm gonna comment this, so if you just highlight this and press C, I'm gonna call this crosshair interact. And I'm just gonna pull in our player ref and we're gonna clear the brush color that we set here. So if I go into here and look for a crosshair, bind event to crosshair clear. We're gonna basically just do the same thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate both of these custom events. And I'm gonna name this top one crosshair clear. And I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight this guy and copy it. Then I'm gonna go into here, paste that, and add the word bind. And plug this guy into here. I'm just going to duplicate our crosshair border and set color here. And plug this guy in. And I'm just going to set this back to no saturation, so it's back to base color. And I'll go ahead and comment this and call it crosshair clear. And we will add that custom event here, crosshair clear. Right here, and now it should clear whenever we are no longer over an interactable. Yep. You can see it'll highlight when we're over an interactable. Sometimes it clears a little slow. I think that's the timer. No. I gotta figure out what that is. When I figure out what that is, we'll update it, but for now, this is fine. Also, later on, we'll probably do some other things. Like, if you don't want to do this method, I'll probably show some other ways. Like when you get close to an interactable, how a lot of games will have a little icon that shows on the interactable. Like, it'll show up and disappear depending on your distance from it, and you can also make that, you know, like an like a text icon. Like a lot of games will have like the E key that'll pop up on it, or it'll just have like a little ring around the object that indicates that it's an interactable. So I'll show that method as well later on down the road, but for now we have this. Alright, so that should be good. So the next thing we want to do is we need to make our key blueprint. So come in blueprints, items, base item. We're going to create a child blueprint class. This is going to be BP underscore base key. And we're going to make a new folder called keys. And we'll pull this guy into here. And we need to update our data table. So let's go into our data table here. We're gonna add a new row. Just gonna rename this to base key. And item class is gonna be our BP base key. Static mesh is gonna be our key. Item name is gonna be base key. Description, we will make this is our setup for a base key. Item type is going to be a key. Item name, we're not going to worry about that right now. Pickup sound, so I do have a pickup sound. I'll go ahead and add another pack that I have. You can use whatever sound you have, but I'm going to grab something from my library. Sound, let me see. I have apocalyptic game sound. This one has a lot of sounds. So I'm gonna just add this guy to the project, and we'll use this for the pickup sound. Wait on this guy to add. So that is done. Sure, import. Yes. And we'll close this guy. And I'm just going to find the sound, which I think is game items in here. Somewhere in here. I think it was lock something. Lock pickup. I think I'm going to grab this one. This one right here. It needs to be the Q, though. So, this one, or... Oh, wait on it to save. Yeah, this one. I'm going to grab this Q, select that, and then I'm just going to drop this guy right here. And this is not a door, so we're not going to mess with any of that stuff. Now, we're going to go back to our first person folder, blueprints, items, keys, base key, and I'm gonna select the top part right here, and we're gonna set this to be base key. And let's just test that we can interact with this real quick. Bring this guy into the world, and the key's a little big. I mean, you could change the size of this if you want. Just hit the lock box right here and set it a bit smaller. So, if I interact with it... Oh, yeah, we need to update what we're doing to keys. But you can see that the sound does play. So, the sound is playing. So, let's go into our blueprints, items, base items. We need to update what we're doing with keys here. So, we don't have anything here yet. So, let's... do that. I don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so yeah, nope, we're done with that as well. Alright, so what we're doing here, got my screenshot. First thing we want to do is when we interact with a key, is we want to update the number of keys that we have, that we are holding. So we're going to grab, we need to add a begin play up here. And we're going to cast to first person, cast a BP first person character right here. And we're going to get player character. Hook this guy up. And I'm going to promote this to a variable called player ref, and then we're going to pull our player ref in, and we're going to get keys held, and we're just going to pull off of this guy. We're going to add 1, and then we're going to pull off our player ref, and we're going to set keys held. So just pull off this guy, keys, set keys held to be +1, Then we're going to add this to our keys switch right here. Like that. And the next thing we're going to do is we need to call update keys held, and we need to call crosshair clear. So grab our player ref again. And we're going to update keys. Call update keys held. This is our event dispatcher we made in our player character. So we're going to use this to update our widget. And we're going to also call, so duplicate your player ref again, and we're going to go call crosshair, call crosshair clear. So that it just immediately clears our crosshair and it doesn't stay that color. And then we need to add the key ID to so yeah, we need to add a variable here. We're gonna add a variable called key ID, and this is gonna be a name, and we're gonna make this instance editable. And yeah, that's all we need to do with that. But we're gonna grab our player ref, get player ref, and we need to let's see, key IDs held. So we're gonna get key IDs held, and we're gonna add to that array our key ID that we have in here. So, and all we need to do after that is destroy the actor. So, destroy actor. So now, if I come in here and I interact with the key, it'll delete. It's not updating our widget yet though. So if you look in the top left, that did not update. So we need to go set that up in our widget. So we interact and our widget is still just saying 0. So let's go do that real quick. Go to our first person folder, blueprints, widgets, HUD. And so what I did in my test was I made a little animation for this. So by default, this will not just be showing all the time. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to click on our horizontal box. We're going to set render. We're going to search for render opacity, and we're going to set this to 0. So it's not going to be visible by default. And then we're going to drop down here to animations. We're going to add an animations, and we're going to call this keys held, or yeah, we'll just call it keys held animation. And we're going to click on this guy, and we're going to add our key horizontal box. And on here, we want to look for our render opacity right here. And by default, we're going to set it, let's see. So we're going to make this go from 1 to 0, because when we update our keys held, we're going to immediately set it to be visible, and then after 5 seconds, it'll fade and disappear. So at 0, we're going to set render opacity to 1, and then at over 1 second, we will set it back down to 0. So you'll see it'll just fade away like that. But now, we need to actually make this animation work when we pick up a key. So, we're going to come down here, and I'm going to grab my other reference, which is going to be this guy right here. So, we're going to make a custom event called update keys held. So, custom event, we're going to call it update keys held. And we're going to grab our player ref, and we're going to bind event to update keys held. So bind event to update keys held right here. Plug this guy in. And I'm just going to duplicate this guy right here. I'm going to copy that name as well. Copy. and paste it. Just add the word bind. Plug this guy in. Then the next thing we want to do is we're going to set our text. We're going to update the text of our keys. So we're going to grab our player ref, and we're going to get keys held. And we're going to grab our keys held number text here, and we're going to set text. We're going to set the text to be our keys held integer from our player character. And just plug all that in right there. And that should be good. So now what we want to do is we're going to set our render opacity immediately to 1, and then we're going to set a timer by event that plays our animation. So let's grab our keys horizontal box, and we're going to set render opacity. We're going to immediately set this to 1 so that it shows up. We can see it. And then we're going to create a timer. Yeah, set timer by event. So set timer by event. We'll plug this guy in. And on the time here, we're going to set it to 5. We're not going to set this to loop, but we are going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this keys animation timer handle. Keys animation timer handle. Something like that. We're going to make a custom event, keys fade timer. So custom event keys fade timer. We're going to plug this guy into the event here. And then all we want to do here is we want to grab our keys held animation. And we're going to pull off of this guy. And we're going to play animation. And then hook this guy up. And then, let's see. And then we're going to clear and invalidate timer by handle. So we're just going to grab our keys handle here. And then we're going to clear and invalidate timer by handle. Let's see. Is there a completed? Wait for completion. This should be fine. Yeah. Okay, so let's test that. But before we do, we need to update keys held on our begin play. So update keys held. Right here. Compile. Save. And now, let's test that real quick. See that it works. So if I pick up the key, I'll wait on that message to go away. If I pick up the key, you can see, we could see it, and then after 5 seconds, it should fade away. Yep. And let's just duplicate a key. See that it's working on more than one. Wait on that message to go away. Alright, so interact with one, and interact with another one. We get 2. And then we wait, and it'll fade away. So yeah, we got that working. So now the last thing we need to do is just update our door and get our actual door functionality with the keys. So let's do that. We need... Don't need that anymore. So yeah, this is the last thing we got to do right here. And then we're good to go. So I'm just going to right click on this guy, browse the asset. This is a base hinge door, so we need a base key door. So I'm just going to duplicate this because a lot of the functionality is already inside of this door. And we're just going to add to it. So I'm just going to duplicate that guy. And I'm going to call this base key door. And I'm going to open this guy up. And move a lot of this stuff out of the way. And we're going to need some room. So I'm going to move a lot of this stuff over. Just move that stuff over. And let's see. Make sure I have everything I need in here. Oh, we need to also update our switch right here. Let's go add our key into our enum. So go to first person, blueprint, enums here, and on door type, we're gonna add an enum called key door, and just save that, and then come back here, and if you control, click, and drag, we can just move this guy to key door. Alright, and we're gonna move this use dot to the end. We're gonna add everything before the use dot. Just move this guy way down. And we need to add a variable. First variable is, we're gonna add a few variables actually. So we need a boolean called door unlocked. So add a variable, door unlocked. And we need ID required. So add a variable called ID required. This is going to be a name. And we're also going to make this instance editable. And we also need ID found. It's going to be a boolean. So ID found. It's going to be a boolean. And then another one that is ID required. So is ID required. I think this is instance editable as well. Yeah, let's make that instance editable. And yeah, that should be good. So compile and save. The first thing we're gonna do is, let me look for my other reference here. So right off the rip, we're gonna see if the door is unlocked. So we're gonna grab a branch, plug this guy in, and we're gonna check, is the door unlocked? And if it is not, we're going to see if an ID is required. So we're just going to grab another branch. Is ID required? And then, if that is not, we'll skip past that. We'll do the true first, since this is right here. So if an ID is required, we're gonna grab our player ref. Why do I not have a player ref? Should have. Oh, we need to go to our base door and add it in there. So go to first person, blueprint, items, environmental doors, base door, and right here on begin play, we're gonna cast to first person, cast a BP first person character. We're gonna get player character, plug this guy in, then we're gonna promote this to a variable called player ref, compile, save, and that's all we need to do in here. So we can close this guy as well, and close that HUD as well. So we're gonna right click, get our player ref, and we're gonna get key IDs held. So key IDs held, get key IDs held. And we're gonna do a for each loop with break. For each loop with break. So basically what we're doing is we're gonna check out of all the key IDs that we have held, we're gonna check that the ID that is required, if we have that ID. That's basically what we're doing here. So right here you can see array element, we're gonna see if it's equal to the ID required. So equal. So do we have the ID that is required out of all the keys that we have held? We're going to add a branch. Add that to the loop body. And let's hook this guy to the true. And then, if we do, we're going to tick that ID was found. So ID found, we're going to set that to be true right here. And then we're just going to loop this guy back to the break, and you can add a pin here. Double click, add a pin to clean it up a bit. So yeah, we're just seeing if we have the ID that is required, and if we do, we're ticking that we found it here. And then if we did find it, we're going to break. And then we're going to add a branch, and we're going to see if our ID was found. We're going to check that on the completed. So ID found. If the ID was found, we want to remove the ID required from our array because we don't really need it anymore. We've already used it. So we're going to grab our player ref and held IDs right here, and we're just going to remove. We're going to remove an item, and the item we're going to remove is the ID required because we've already used it. We don't need it anymore. And then, let me pull up my next ref. And then what we want to do is we want to check that keys held is greater than 0. So grab your player ref. We're going to get keys held. And we're going to check if our keys held is greater than 0. Branch. And we're going to just plug this guy in. And if it is, we want to, we're using a key, so we're going to subtract that key from the number of keys we have held. So we're going to duplicate this again, and we're going to subtract 1. Subtract 1. And then we're going to pull off of this guy. We're going to clamp because we don't want to subtract more than we can hold. Our max key, you can set that to whatever. I'm going to set it to 9. And then I'm going to pull off the player ref, and I'm going to set keys held. And this is the true. Yes. The true. Set keys held. And then we're going to call update keys held, so we update our widget. So just duplicate the player ref here. Also, be sure to plug this guy in keys held right there. We're going to update keys, call update keys held. Plug that guy in. And it looks like we need a little more room, so I'm going to move some of this stuff over. Move all of this stuff over. And then we're going to check that the door is now unlocked. So, door unlocked. Set that guy to be true. Plug that guy in right there. And I believe that is it. Other than we need to update. If our ID is not required, we're going to plug our false. We're going to skip past all that for each loop. And we're just going to check the number of keys that we have. Just move this guy. You can add some pins to clean it up. So yeah, just to run through this again, because it's kind of complicated. I'm going to plug this guy in here and kind of line it up a bit. Clean it up. Alright, so what we're doing is we're checking to see if the door is unlocked. If it is not... oh, actually, we need to update this as well. If it is unlocked, we can just go ahead and go to our used dots, right? Yes. If it is unlocked, we can just skip past everything and just open the door. Just add some pins here. Clean that up. So, if our door is unlocked, we don't do any of this. We just open the door. If it is not unlocked, we're going to see if an ID is required. If an ID is required, we're going to check the number. We're going to check if we have a key that holds that ID. And if we do, then we're going to remove that from our keys that we have held. We're also going to remove that key that we're holding, and we're going to unlock the door. So we're going to set the door to be unlocked, and then we're going to open the door. So if the ID is not required, then we're just going to skip over, and we're going to use a key, and we're going to unlock the door and open the door. So, like I said, it's a little complicated. So let's go into our key right here. So key ID, right now, we're not going to check the ID. Let's go ahead and bring in our blueprint items, environmental doors. Let's make a new folder in here called key doors. And I'm going to pull base key door into key doors. Move that guy there. And I'm going to delete that door. And I'm going to bring in our base key door. And we're just going to test this guy without the ID first to make sure that's working. So, right now, if I try to use the door, we can see it won't open. If I pick up a key, and now I use the door, it's still not opening. So, let's figure out why. Oh, we forgot to rename the door. So, base key door. Let's open this guy. And I'm pretty sure we forgot to change the door name. Yeah, we need to change this to base. Oh, we didn't add this to the data table. We still need to do that. Let's do that real quick. Let's go to first person data table. Add this to the data table. So add. We're going to rename this to base key door. Door class is going to be base key door. Mesh is going to be door, common door. Item name is going to be base key door. Item description, this is going to be, this is our setup for a base key door. Item type is going to be environmental. Item name, we're not gonna worry about that. Pickup sound, we're not gonna worry about that. Door type is gonna be key door. And now we can close that guy. Let's just do a save all. And now if we come here and we select our base key door, all of that should update. And now let's give it a try. So now if I come in and I interact with it, it doesn't open. If I pick up a key and open it, it opens, it uses the key, the widget updates, and we can open and close it now. And yeah, this is with the ID not required. So let me show you how the ID required works. I'm also going to turn on use dot. I like the dot better. So, is ID required? We can take this guy to be true. And we can name the ID required. So let's name this something like basement door. Or let's call it basement key is the one we're looking for. So now let's take this guy. So the one right here is going to be our basement key. Basement key. And the one right here is not going to be a basement key. So let's, we're going to grab this one first, try to open it. And then we're going to grab this one and try to open it and see what happens. So if we grab the one on the left here, this is the one that doesn't have the right ID. So let's grab that one. And we try to interact. It doesn't open. It's because we don't have that ID. If I come and grab this one though, and try to open it, it opens up. Because we have that ID. So yeah. All you gotta do is set up your door to have the same name as the ID in here. And, yeah. It's a bit complicated, but I think it's pretty cool. I worked on this quite a bit to get this to work. And yeah, that's kind of all we're gonna do for this one. So if you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know those down in the comments. If you have any tutorials you would like to see, also let me know those down in the comments. Also, if you would like to support the channel, we do have memberships on the channel. It definitely goes a long way with helping me make these tutorials. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.